Hey, this is the World Advice Channel 2. What I want to talk about today is the main reason why the black community is failing. So, when it comes to the main reason why the black community is failing, it is simply down to the fact that we do not have, is that there hasn't been a good enough attempt to promote things that the black community needs to stop doing, okay? In other words, there hasn't been a big enough attempt to get a message out there to as many people as possible of the toxic habits that black people have, whether African American, Caribbean, whatever you can imagine, that we need to stop doing in order for us to succeed, okay? For that matter, okay? Now, when it comes to this question, obviously the question that would come up, obviously, in a situation like this, it would obviously be what exactly are these toxic habits? Well, these toxic habits are three main things. There's other things, but there are three main things. One of the biggest ones, absolutely undeniably, is showing up late to things, which obviously, if you're running a business, can get in the way of you being able to, of course, be taken, of course, seriously, and even just in general, being able to, actually find customers who are going to be willing to work with you versus people of other communities. That absolutely is a big one. We need to stop doing the lack of punctuality, which means showing up on time. Punctuality means being exactly correct with the time you show up. The second one is a lack of good quality organization skills, which a lot of black people do not do. You go to restaurants and this and that, or anywhere for that matter, they don't have the stuff cooked. They didn't plan things out properly, and everything is just done at the last minute, which just creates chaos and people turning on each other and fighting. And that's the second thing we need to stop doing for that matter. And the third one, absolutely, undeniably, is very true and has been going on for a long time, is overcharging everything for the when you go to their stores. That's a third and a last thing we need to, as a community, overall at least, stop doing. Okay. Now, those are the three main things we need to work on, but particularly, um, if we want to see success, okay, and do better in life, okay. It's not even a case about comparing ourselves to other communities. It's more us having the ability to have a good, enjoyable life ourselves. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. In all honesty, instead of saying, "Oh, we were trying to replace the Asian community or trying to surpass white people," or some stupid stuff some people would say. No, this is just simply down to us doing better, so we can live enjoyable, comfortable lives, without having to live in poor communities where we're around people we don't even want to be around, for that matter. And of course, due to having more status in society, we don't have to worry about the police stopping us and asking us stupid questions all the time, which I know they do quite often in America. That is the simple truth of the matter, okay? When it comes to this particular situation, okay? That is the truth of the matter, okay? And not even, and to continue on with the point I was trying to make, okay, of course, the point I was making about the main way we can, of course, make things for the black community is when it comes to that specific issue, we need to start promoting this stuff to as many people as possible. Okay, these three main things I just mentioned, we need to start getting it out there to as many people as we possibly can in order to, of course, no surprise, make sure things can obviously change. If we can get that message out there to as many people as possible, then we can actually enact real change. Okay, maybe there could even be, for example, massive, television programs or something, whatever that can be talked about that can help debunk, these ideas that these things that we do is okay. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm going to explain to you how the world works, okay? Which I think everyone has kind of heard these points at some point. But it's good to still remind you to give a good refresher for people who might not remember everything, of course, on the top of their head. And secondly, of course, for people who, of course, might have never heard these things. When it comes to how the world works, the truth about the world is people tend to do things based on what everyone else is doing. Okay, if everyone else, if most people tend to do a certain particular thing, or at least it's considered to be the thing everyone else is doing, everyone else is going to join in it, whether it's positive or negative. Most people in the world, let's be honest, let's not deny this fact. I'm going to be straight up with you, are followers. They follow whatever they consider is normal and what you're supposed to do. Most people do not really have independent opinions on anything for that matter. And if they do, it's small. So, in short, to sum things up, most people are not independent thinkers. They just follow what everyone else is doing, whether it could be what, what maybe their brother is doing or this and that, or what they consider socially acceptable, or what their main friends, the most popular friend in a specific friend group is doing. That is what they do as well. Most people will, let's be honest, are followers. It's rare, and nowadays even rarer, you will truly find someone who is actually independent minded, okay? And when it comes to something like, for example, I'll just use punctuality as an example, okay? When it comes to something like punctuality, you have a lot of people who might think in their head, okay, I think punctuality is kind of a bad thing. Punctuality is something that makes sense. But since they see everyone else not being punctual, which means, like, for example, let's just say we're supposed to meet up this particular place, for something, let's just say, for example, it might be a business meeting or something, whatever you can imagine, and they show up at 12 o'clock. This is when we get started. They normally on their own might show up at 11:40 or 11:50 to try to show up as early as possible. But since they keep on going there and they realize everyone is showing up at later times, 11, 12:20, 12:30, 12:40, yada, 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 you get the point. And then they start realizing, okay, if everyone else is showing up late, why do I have to show up early all the time? And that's the truth of the matter. It's a case of group dynamics. If a lot of people are not doing something, then people, will stop doing the same thing, okay? We'll start doing the same thing, more like, for that matter, okay? It's basic classic case of group dynamics, how we all tend to be influenced by how other people in general tend to do things. That's simply a known fact. There's no ifs, ands, or buts to debate that, if anything. A lot of people will do that, if anything. And it even just comes down to the fact that some people just simply say, well, if everyone's doing it, what's the point of me showing up early on time if everyone else is doing it? In honesty, just like the case of, if everyone else is corrupt, why'd I have to be the one who's not corrupt? That's just simply a case of human psychology 101, for example, when it comes to how we think and behave. And when you obviously have a situation like that from a grassroots level, when it comes to work on these issues, it's obviously going to have people do that. But when you're talking about on a grand scale, and you promote this stuff to as many people as possible, so then everyone starts realizing, yeah, this is kind of dumb. At least even if it's a small portion of people, a lot of people start saying this is kind of dumb to be showing up late on time, then more and more people are going to look at those people and say, oh, so many people are actually showing up on time. I need to show up on time too. So that's the truth of the matter when it comes to understanding how people work. Whether it is America, Europe, Asia, whatever, people in the world are all the same. And I can guarantee you, if we do that for those three main things, everything is going to work out a million times better for our community, in honesty, okay? Because the more you do that, obviously when it comes to business, for that matter, you're going to realize, first and foremost, people are going to be more willing to do work with you. And secondly, as a result, you're going to realize, of course, no surprise, your businesses are going to be doing well. Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to any community of people doing well in the modern world, it comes down to making money, okay? And obviously, Black people, since a lot of people do not like us, and when you work at certain jobs and occupations, they're just going to discriminate against you and mistreat you, and you could do the best job ever, but they'll give some random person who just came there some way, somehow, um, more promotions and all that type of stuff compared to you. The truth of the matter is, and when you deal with situations like that, common sense would indicate, I'm going to work on my own and start my own businesses. But if you start your own businesses and you're doing a crappy job, you're not showing up on time, you're not being organized, you don't even have the things you're supposed to have, and lastly, you're overcharging things, and who's going to want to work with you? And that's the truth of the matter. So that's the truth of the matter. And if we obviously do those things, then we're going to obviously build more money and more capital, whatever you like to say, and our communities are going to be doing a lot better. we have a lot more money and so on and so forth. And that's what we need to do. There's bullshit about, oh, don't worry, man, no one shows up on time to everything, and blah, 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 blah. What is that really going to do for us? For that matter, especially when we deal with a world that hates us in the first place. So that's the truth of the matter. And that's definitely something we as a black community are definitely going to have to work on. Okay. And it's not like one of those toxic right wingers who like every single imperfection. Oh, we need to work on it. Blah 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 blah. That type of crap. Which some people I think might be misinterpreting me as. These three things are genuinely, objectively things we need to work on without any bullshit being associated with it. Okay, this has nothing to do with pleasing white people. These are common sense things that need to stop, and that's all that matters in the end of the day. And that's all I have to say for this video. And all I can say that's left, at least, is I hope you enjoyed this video. As remember, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is Officer, and I'm out. Bye.